Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a super easy crochet cardigan. This is a great project for a beginner crocheter who wants a bit of a challenge. We will be using 2 stitches, half double crochet and double crochet, which I will show you throughout the video. Grab a pen, paper, and measuring tape, and let's get started. You're first going to start by taking some measurements. So the first measurement you need is your waist, and then you will also need from your waist to 2 inches below your armpit, which will be your side seam. Next, you'll need your shoulder measurement, which is from the base of your neck to the tip of your shoulder. And then lastly, you need to measure from your waist up to your neckline, wherever you want it to end on the center of your body. This is just a diagram of what the front and back pieces will look like. So these letters coincide with the letters on the previous slide. So for A, that is your waist divided by 4. B is your waist divided by 2. C is from your waist to 2 inches below your armpit. D is from your shoulder to 2 inches below your armpit. E is your shoulder, which is from the base of your neck to the tip of your shoulder. F is your waist to where you want the neckline to end, and then G is the end of the neckline diagonally to the base of your neck. These are some of the materials that I used for this project. I used this Big Twist Value yarn. It's 380 yards, and I actually used about 4 skeins of this. I'm just using the white color, but they have so many other colors you can pick from. I also have a pair of scissors. I'm using a 5mm hook. We're going to start with the front, and you need to make 2 of these. This will be worked from the bottom up, and we're going to start with the ribbing at the bottom. To start, we're going to need to make a slip knot like I'm doing here, and then chain 10. We're going to be half double crocheting, so we need to count 3 chains away from your hook, and then you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, go into this one loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 on your hook. And this is what you're going to do across this row. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull through all 3. And just repeat this until the end, and I'll meet you there when I'm done. I just reached the end of my piece, and now I'm just going to chain 2 and then turn my work. So now we're going to be half double crocheting in the back loop only for the rest of this ribbing portion so that it looks like it's ribbed. And we're going to be going in this back loop here, not the front, but the back where my hook is. So you're going to yarn over and then go through that very back loop, yarn over, pull through 3. And you're just going to repeat this across until you get to the end where you will chain 2 once again and then turn. So I just reached the end, and I'm going to chain 2 once again and then turn my work. And you can kind of see the ribbing forming, so I'm just going to continue half double crocheting in the back loop only until my piece measures the A measurement from the chart earlier that I showed you. So I should mention I'm doing a half size scale just for the purposes of this video. And so we're going to turn your work horizontally, and we're going to half double crochet across this longer length of the ribbing that you did. So you're going to do your chain 2, and then you're just going to try and like find places to put a stitch in because there aren't defined stitches or stitches that you're going to be half double crocheting into. So I'm basically just finding places where my hook goes into. I'm not going to try to overcrowd the area because then I'll have way too many stitches. You just want it to be even and not put too many or too little stitches. So you might have to look at it, like put your work down, look at it if this is your first time doing this. But I just tried to do 1 or 2 stitches, or say 3 stitches for every 2 rows of half double crochet, if that makes sense. So I reached the end of that row and I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and then I'm going to continue half double crocheting in the back loop only, just like I did for the ribbing, for the C measurement. So the C measurement, as we spoke about earlier, is from the waist to 2 inches below your armpit. So when you measure your work to see if it's long enough, you will measure from the very bottom of your ribbing to the very top of your piece. So I just wanted to show you on the full size scale the area that we're currently crocheting. It's this part here. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what this looks like because sometimes it's easier to see a visual of the area. So this is the very last line you'll be doing up here, and that's when we will start the decreases. So I finished the half size scale and it's proportionate to my full size one. And now we're going to start the decreases for the armpit. So I made it to the end of this row and we have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to decrease. I'm going to start a half double crochet and then I'm going to do the same yarn over pull through in the second stitch and then pull through all of the loops on my hook. I'm going to do that one more time to show you guys, but first we need to chain 2 and then turn your work. And then we're going to decrease one more time on this row. You're going to yarn over, put your hook in the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook. And then you're just going to half double crochet normally across in the back loop. So I made it to the end of this row and I already chained 2, so I'm going to turn my work and now I'm going to start the decreases for the neckline. So this is just where my F area lined up for the front, and I showed you that in the diagram earlier. It kind of lined up with my armpit. But if you wanted your neckline higher, then just keep going straight up on the center front line instead of decreasing here. But I'm just going to show you how to decrease the neckline for when you get to your part, depending on how your cardigan looks. So because I'm starting my neckline here, I'm going to decrease on the first 2 stitches of this row, and then I'm going to half double crochet in the back loop only across until I have 2 stitches left, which will be the last decrease for the armpit. So you will decrease the last 2 stitches on this row, and I will meet you guys at the end of the row when I get there. So I just made it to the end of the row and I'm going to decrease these last 2 stitches so that we just have 1, and this will be the last decrease for the armpit. I'm going to chain 2 right here, turn my work, and you can see the armpit right here. So now we're just going to be decreasing for the neckline. So this part where we're doing the armpit will just be straight up, we won't be decreasing, and then on the left here we're going to be decreasing. So for this row I will half double crochet across until I have 2 stitches left, and then I will decrease those. And here I am at the end of the row and I'm going to decrease these last 2 stitches together for the neckline, and then I'm going to chain 2 and then turn my work just like normal. So after you turn your work, you're going to decrease these first 2 stitches that you just decreased in the first row. So we're going to decrease those just like normal. And then you're going to half double crochet across without decreasing or anything. And when you get to the end, you're going to chain 2 and turn. So you're going to continue these decreasing rows on the neckline. Every row you're going to decrease wherever the neckline is, and then on the other end you're just going to do a regular half double crochet like we've been doing here, so we're not decreasing for the armpit anymore. And you're going to continue the decreasing on the neckline until your piece measures from below your armpit, the 2 inches below your armpit, to your shoulder, which is the D measurement. And then you want to make sure that the band you have left is your E measurement, which is your shoulder width. So I just continued the decreases until it was the correct size for my shoulder width, and it reached from 2 inches under my armpit to my shoulder. So here's my little half scale with my full scale model, just showing you guys the neckline. And I do not have the like strap part that I'm holding right here for the shoulder on my half size piece. It just has a neckline right now, but we will be working on the shoulder part next so that it reaches up to your shoulder. But yeah, this is what it looks like so far. This is the larger neckline and the smaller one. So now we're going to be starting on the strap. So it probably reaches to like your where your neck meets your shoulder, but it's not in the middle of your shoulder yet, which is the shoulder seam if you're sewing a garment. So we need to make sure it reaches up to there. So now you're just going to half double crochet back and forth with chaining 2 at the end and turning your work until the piece measures up to the middle of your shoulder. I believe I did about 5 rows for this, and you can do as many rows as you need, but my piece was just 5 rows. Now you're just going to bind off and cut your working yarn, and this is what my little half scale looks like. It's almost a complete replica, but smaller, of my full-size one. But this is what the mini one looks like when you're all done, and yours should look like this, just, a half size bigger. So here are my 2 front panels that I already finished, and now we're going to be moving on to the back. So we're going to again start with the ribbing for the back band, which I already did, and you're going to do the same ribbing that you did for the front, but just longer so that it matches your B measurement, which is your waist divided by 2. So again, I already did my ribbing and I already did the base kind of like foundation row, and I did a few rows of the half double crocheting. This part is exactly the same as the front pieces where you just half double crocheted the C measurement, which is from your waist to 2 inches below your armpit. So I actually ran out of yarn here, so I'm just showing you guys how I attach like a new skein of yarn. I just kind of make a knot with the old yarn and the new yarn, pull it really tight, and then I kind of like tie another knot with opposite kind of strings. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can kind of see what I'm doing a little better than how I can explain it. So yeah, just keep half double crocheting across, chaining 2 at the end and turning for your C measurement, and this should be the same size as your front. So I would just take your front piece every so often and measure it up and see if it's the same size. So as you can see, my back lines up to my front portion where the armpit starts, and another good tip is to count your rows and make sure you have the same amount for both the front and the back. So now we're going to be doing the decreases for the armpit, and right here I just finished up that row and I'm going to just chain 2 and turn my work. So for the next 3 rows you're going to be decreasing on the first 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches. So I'm going to start my half double crochet decreases here and just do 1, and then I'm going to half double crochet all the way across until I have 2 stitches left. Alright, so I'm nearing the end here, and I'm going to decrease in these last 2 stitches again. And then again, I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and then decrease on the first 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches. And then after this row, you will just do 1 more row of the decreasing. So I'm just finishing up this last row, and I'm finishing off with my last decrease. And then I'm just going to chain 2 and turn my work. So here's my front piece on top of my back piece, and you can see how the armpits line up. And now we're going to be working on this portion. So you're just going to half double crochet across evenly without increasing or decreasing until you kind of get to the back of your neck. So now that my piece measures from my waist to the back of my neck, I just kind of like draped it over my back to find this. We need it to extend to the shoulders. So what I did was I counted how many stitches I have on my E measurement, which is kind of like the strap on the front. And on my very last row, I am now just half double crocheting however many stitches that was. I believe mine was 21, but yours might be different. So once you half double crochet that many stitches, you're going to chain 2 and then turn your work. So now you're going to repeat half double crocheting across, chaining 2 at the end and turning until your back piece is the same length as your front piece. So just periodically you can throw your top piece or your front panel over the back and just see if the stitches line up. Or you can also count rows and make sure that you have enough rows. I believe this shoulder portion for mine was 5 rows in total. So I'm nearing the end now of my first shoulder, and I'm just, finishing up with my half double crochets, and I'm going to show you kind of how I bind off. I just basically chain 1 and then pull the yarn really tight and leave a nice tail, usually about 6 inches or so, and then I just snip it off. And it's good to have a longer-ish tail so that you can either use it to seam your pieces together or just is long enough so you can kind of tuck it inside of the rest of the garment. So this is what it looks like with one shoulder done, and now I'm going to show you how to do the other shoulder. You're first going to find the very first stitch here at the end that I'm putting my hook through right now, and then you're going to grab your working yarn. So I have the tail on my right and the working part on my left, and I'm just going to pull that through this stitch. Then I'm going to kind of wrap both the tail and the working yarn around and chain 2. Now with the working yarn, you're going to kind of encase that tail into your work just by holding it over the stitches, and you're going to continue just half double crocheting across. However many stitches you did for the first shoulder, you will do the same amount for this shoulder. And you can see here I'm just kind of tucking the tail yarn in each time. So I find that back loop, I put the tail over my hook, and then I just yarn over, pull through all 3. So just continue that until you have enough stitches that matches your first shoulder. Just nearing the end of this first row here, and I'm chaining 2, turning my work, and then I'm going to continue half double crocheting in the back loop only for as many rows as I did for the first shoulder. Again, I believe I did 5 for mine, but yours could be different depending on your fit or how you want this cardigan to fit your style. Awesome, so this is everything we've done so far. I have my 2 front pieces on top of my back, and this is what the back is looking like. So exciting, we're almost done. We just have to do the next biggest part, which are the sleeves. So to kind of figure out how big I want my ribbing to be for the sleeve, I basically just wrap around some existing ribbing around my wrist. And I know this looks really awkward, but I just kind of do that and then I count how many ribbing rows that is. So my front has 20 rows, but I'm actually going to do 16 rows for my ribbing for the cuff. So for the sleeve, we're going to start with the ribbing, which we've already done for both front pieces and back. So if you need to look it over again, you forgot how to do the ribbing, I put timestamps down below in the description box. So just click on the ribbing timestamp and you will remember how to do that once you watch that portion of the video again. So I'm just going to do the ribbing, and I'm going to do that for as many rows as I need to wrap around my wrist, and mine again will be 16 rows. Once you've completed your ribbing, we need to do that foundation row again. So that's just what I'm doing here, and the final amount that I did across was 26 stitches. So you're just going to half double crochet in kind of each spot you can find across evenly and chain 2 at the end, and I'll meet you there when I'm done. So the sleeve I want to do for this is kind of like a puffy but fitted sleeve. So what I'm going to do is half double crochet twice in every single stitch across. I know it seems like a lot, but trust me, it's definitely worth it in the end. So you can see here, I'm half double crocheting in the back loop only twice in every single stitch, and you're going to continue that across this row and then chain 2 at the end when you're done. So this is what it should look like once you're done increasing. And now for this next row, I'm just going to half double crochet in the back loop only all the way across and then chain two at the end and turn. So when I got to doing 5 rows of this half double crocheting across, I realized that it was literally going to take forever. So I decided to start double crocheting every other row. So I'm just doing a double crochet here and then I will explain it again. You yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over and pull through 3. And I'll show you another one just because. Yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And that's a stitch you're going to do across. And also, if you saw Daphne against the fur, leave me a little comment below because she was being so cute and just wanted to be in the picture, but I had to zoom in so you guys could actually see what I was doing. Yeah, you're going to alternate half double crochet and double crochet rows until the piece measures from your wrist to 2 inches below your armpit. So this is what my piece looks like right now. It's kind of wonky and going to one side and I don't know why, but I'm just kind of like stretching it, trying to make it look normal. I don't know. It's fine. It fits well, so I'm just going to go with it. But we're basically now going to start decreasing so that you don't have all that bulk under the armpit. So I'm just going to chain 2 right here. So now we're just going to continue in that double crochet, half double crochet pattern, but we're going to decrease at the first stitch, the first 2 stitches, the very middle of the piece, and then the last 2 stitches every single row. So this is a double crochet row, so this is just how you do a double crochet decrease. And now I'm just going to mark the center because I actually didn't do that at first. So I basically just fold my work in half like this. And then I just had a pin next to me and I'm just going to use that and mark the center stitches. So that's where I'm going to decrease right in the center and I'm going to double crochet to that point and I will show you what I do there. So I just made it to my center marker that I placed and I'm just going to again do a double crochet decrease. So go in, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then you're just going to pull through until you have 2 loops on your hook. And that's how I do a double crochet decrease. And then you're going to just double crochet again all the way to the end until you have 2 stitches left and do another decrease. And then, of course, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. So you're going to continue in the double crochet, half double crochet, alternating rows, decreasing on the first 2 stitches, the very middle stitches, and then the last 2 stitches every single row until the piece is long enough that it goes from your shoulder to your wrist or like a little bit below your wrist, maybe to mid-thumb or something, however long you want your sleeve to be. So I did a total from when I started the cuff up until my shoulder, I did a total of 42 rows. Not sure how long that is in inches, but I did 42 rows and it was like, you know, a mixture of half double crochet and double crochet. So I'm going to finish this up, continuing with the decreases, and I will show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So this is what my wonky looking lovely sleeve looks like when I'm all done. It looks weird. I'm still not sure why, but you know, it fits. So I'm just going to go with it. I just kind of like stretched it a little bit and you can also block it if you'd like. I'm not going to do that. So I wrote down all of my rows, like row by row, what I did. So here I'm just counting how many rows it is until I start the decreases. So I believe I had 30 rows before I started decreasing, and I'm just grabbing those ends with the right side on the inside because I'm going to be seaming this kind of like part of the underarm together. So I'm just kind of like pinching those together, and you're going to have to kind of move it around a little bit because of the weird shape of the sleeve, but you're going to slip stitch all the way down this. So I'm just matching up my ends, making sure I have the same exact rows lined up here. And I'm going to grab my hook and actually place it in the same exact row so I get everything perfectly lined up. and then I'm going to just pull some working yarn through it, kind of like a slip, and then I'm going to yarn over both the working and tail and just do like a chain. So now you really have to pay attention to making sure that each row is lined up on either side, and you're just going to slip stitch all the way down the sleeve. So that's basically you insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. You don't have to yarn over at all. It's super quick and easy, and it makes a nice sturdy seam. And you're going to do this from the underarm all the way to the end of the cuff and then bind off. One thing to note, I cannot find the footage for this, but you're going to have to seam with right sides together the shoulders and the side seams, the fronts to the backs. I have no idea where the footage went. I'm so sorry. I'm just working on the sleeve now, just seaming it up, and remember that you have to make 2 sleeves for this, so you're going to have to go back and repeat this whole process for the other sleeve. And the sleeve is done. This is what it looks like. And you can flip it right side out, of course. Okay, we're on the home stretch now. I promise we're almost done. So I have my front and back pieces all seamed together, the shoulders and the side seams, and you're going to flip it wrong side out. And you're going to have your sleeve right side out. This is how we're going to seam the sleeve to the rest of the cardigan. So now you're going to take the sleeve, it being right side out, and you're going to put it inside of the wrong side out jacket so that right sides are facing. And then you're going to line up the armpit areas. You can use a pin, and then you can line up the rest of the sleeve to the armhole. And you're just going to use the same slip stitching technique all the way around, just like you did for the sleeve seam and then the shoulder and side seams. So I'm just starting at the shoulder seam, and that's how I'm starting to slip stitch all the way around. And I did make this sped up because it's basically the same that we did for the other kind of seaming portions, but yeah, I wanted to throw this in here just in case anyone was a little bit confused and so you could see how I did it. Okay, we are finally on the last part. Who is excited? I definitely am. I was so happy to finally finish this cardigan. But yeah, I had this tail on the end of my ribbing, so I just connected some more yarn to it. And I'm basically going to do a half double crochet all the way across, just like we did for these like foundation kind of stitches after you finish the ribbing. So the ribbing here does have some stitches already available, so I suggest going into those stitches. I'm having a bit of trouble right now trying to get these stitches through because of the knot that I made. But yeah, I would just follow the 8 stitches that you have for the ribbing, and then just kind of put stitches where you see would work best throughout the rest of the cardigan. And you're going to start at the very bottom edge of your ribbing and go all the way up and around the neckline and then back down the other side. And I'm going to do that, and I will show you guys what it looks like when I'm done with my first row. Alright, so I'm just finishing up my first row of half double crocheting, and my second row is going to be double crocheting all the way around once again, and then your last and final row will be one more round of half double crochet. And you can make this band part how big or how small you want it to be. I wanted to do 3 rows. You can do more or less, however you want your cardigan to look in the end. But yeah, I'm just going to finish all of that up, and don't forget to weave in all of your ends before you wear it out, just so you don't have string hanging everywhere. But yeah, I'm going to show you what it looks like next. And this is the final cardigan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want a written pattern, you can visit my blog down below, where I also have a PDF you can print out to write in all of your measurements as we go along. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, definitely subscribe for more videos. And I hope you all have a great holiday season. Thanks so much for watching.